Far away, on the edge of the galaxy, there was a dangerous planet named Gorgax. The people who lived there were called Deathworlders. They were strong, fast, and feared by many other alien races. Their world was full of fire, storms, and wild creatures. Even their sky had red lightning. No one dared to visit Gorgax, but now, Gorgax was in trouble. Their sun was growing hotter. It had started to shake and flash. Scientists on the planet said the sun would explode soon. They had only 30 days before the planet burned. So, the leaders of Gorgax did something they had never done before. They sent a distress signal. It was a message to the galaxy. To any race who can hear this, we ask for help. Our sun is dying. We need power. We need shelter. We need hope. Please respond. The message flew across the stars. At the Galactic Council Station, many alien leaders gathered to talk about the signal. These leaders were from peaceful, advanced worlds. Some were tall with crystal skin. Others floated in the air like soft bubbles. All of them had one thing in common. They didn't like the Deathworlders. They are violent, said one leader. They caused war 100 years ago, said another. They are monsters, said a third. No help. The council decided. Let them face their fate, so the galaxy stayed silent. Except one world, Earth. Back on Gorgax, days passed. No answer came. The people began to lose hope. The sky grew hotter. The ocean started to boil. Children cried. The ground cracked. All eyes turned toward the stars, waiting for someone to care. Then, suddenly, a signal appeared in their sky. It was from the humans. A short message flashed on every screen. Earth has received your call. Help is on the way. The people of Gorgax were confused. No other species had ever dared to help them before. Some laughed, others cried. Some even shouted, "Humans, they are weak." But all waited. 3 days later, a ship arrived. It was huge, larger than anything they had seen before. Black metal covered its body. It had no windows, no markings, and no lights. It came silently, floating down from the stars like a shadow from space. No ships flew with it. No crew spoke. It made no sound. The Gorgaxian scientists scanned it. No energy readings. One said, "No signs of life." Another said, "It's like it's dead." Still, the ship hovered above the capital city, watching. The people gathered below. Children pointed. Soldiers stood ready. Leaders waited. Suddenly, a deep voice came from the sky. It was calm, slow, and cold. "You have called." Humanity answers. "You will receive one chance." A great door opened under the ship. From it, machines floated down smooth, round machines with tools and arms. They looked like workers, not fighters. They landed on the ground and started to move quickly. One group went to an empty field and began to build. Towers rose from the soil in minutes. The machines poured blue energy into the air. Another group set up power stations. A third group repaired broken roads and cleaned the burning sky. Within hours, Gorgax looked different. Cooler winds began to blow. The air became easier to breathe. Some rivers returned, but there was no human seen. No pilot, no commander. Just the ship. In the machines, the people began to whisper, "Is this really help? Why does it feel so cold? Why does the ship just stare at us?" One old Gorgaxian leader looked up at the ship with worried eyes. "This is not just aid," he said quietly. "This is a test." In the days that followed, more machines came. They never stopped working. They built energy shields, solar towers, and safety domes. The sun's heat was blocked. Gorgax was safe for now, but no one could forget the ship. It never moved. It never answered questions. It just watched. And in its silence, it carried a strange feeling, not kindness, but warning. The strange human ship stayed above Gorgax. It floated in the sky like a silent moon. It had no lights, no flags, and no windows. Its black surface absorbed sunlight. Even Gorgax's strong heat did not touch it. The ship looked more like a sleeping beast than a machine, and still no humans were seen. Only the machines worked below. These machines moved fast. They built tall towers, energy shields, and cooling systems. They repaired old buildings and cleared smoke from the sky. Some could fly and others rolled on wheels. None spoke. The Gorgaxians watched in silence. They don't stop, said one farmer. They don't eat or rest, said a soldier. They work like they are part of the ship, said a scientist. People began calling it the builder ship, but some didn't trust it. General Velron, a powerful Gorgaxian war leader, watched with cold eyes. He didn't like silence, he didn't like mystery, and he didn't like humans. This ship is too quiet, he said to his officers. It hides something. Machines don't build without orders. Where are the humans? What are they waiting for? His officers stayed quiet. Carr clenched his fist. We were warriors once. We did not need gifts from Earth. Meanwhile, one curious young Gorgaxian, Threx, couldn't stop thinking about the ship. He was not a soldier. He was a thinker, a tech student. He believed everything had a purpose, even silence. He decided to get closer. One night, while the machines worked below, Threx climbed the hills near the ship. He carried a scanner, a recorder, and his courage. The ship floated just above the ground. It gave off no heat, no sound, just a hum very soft, like a breath. As Threx reached the side, he saw something strange. The black metal rippled like water. Then, without warning, a small ramp opened. Threx froze. Then he stepped forward. Inside, the air was cool. The walls were black and silver, smooth and glowing in places. Strange blue lights moved along the floor. The ship seemed alive but still. No humans. He walked deeper. As he passed through a large chamber, the lights changed. A screen appeared on the wall. It showed old videos. Threx watched in shock. The screen played ancient battles. Gorgaxian ships attacking human colonies long ago. Screams, fire, explosions. Images of Gorgax warlords destroying space stations and stealing resources. Then, a message in bold letters: Earth remembers, Earth forgives. But only once. Threx felt cold. This was not a simple aid ship. This was a warning. The next day, the machines finished a massive power station. The sun's energy was now being stored safely. Gorgax was no longer in danger. But General Carr was not happy. They are controlling us, he shouted to the council. These towers, these machines, they are not gifts, they are chains. Some leaders agreed. Others stayed silent. Kar made a plan. That night, he ordered his soldiers to fire a plasma cannon at the human ship. He wanted to see what it would do. He wanted to see if it could be destroyed. The cannon shot a bright beam of red fire into the sky. It hit the ship. A loud boom filled the air, but the ship did not move. Smoke cleared. The black metal had no damage, not even a scratch. Then, something changed. Panels on the side of the ship began to slide open. Large, dark weapons slowly came out. Cannons, launchers, and spinning barrels that hummed with power. The quiet ship now looked like a fortress ready for war. A voice echoed across the land. Threat detected. You were warned. Last chance. Stand down or face consequence. The people of Gorgax stood frozen. No one had ever heard such a cold, heavy voice before. It was not angry, but it was final. Threx ran to the council chambers. This ship is not just a builder, he shouted. It's a guardian, a watcher, a warning. The leaders listened. Fear filled the room. Threx told them about the videos he saw inside, the past wars, the message. Earth remembers what we did, he said. They came to help, but they came ready to destroy us too, if we fall back into violence. One old counselor stood. Then we must choose wisely, he said. Outside, the ship's weapons still glowed. The Gorgaxians had been given life-saving aid. But now, they realized the truth. The ship was not here just to help, it was here to judge. The black ship floated above Gorgax like a silent judge. Its weapons were now outlong cannons, glowing launchers, and sharp metal wings folded across its sides. It no longer looked like a helper. It looked like a war machine. No one spoke, even. The wild wind of Gorgax seemed to pause. General Carr's attack had failed. The plasma cannon had done nothing to the ship. Now the people stood afraid, unsure of what would happen next. The voice from the ship had warned clearly, stand down or face consequence. The council called an emergency meeting. Leaders, elders, and tech experts gathered in a high tower. The room was cold and quiet. Threx was there too. He stood before the council and told them again what he had seen inside the ship. It is more than a machine, Threx said. It remembers. It knows what our ancestors did. It knows we once attacked human colonies. Earth never forgot. The leaders looked at one another with heavy eyes. We asked for help. One of them whispered. They gave it, but with a sword in the other hand. Threx explained what he saw in the hidden room videos from hundreds of years ago, showing Gorgaxian warships burning human settlements in deep space. We were different then. One counselor said, our people. We're wild, angry. We didn't care for peace. But humans did care, Threx said. They could have destroyed us back then. But they didn't, they waited. Now they help us. With one final warning, everyone went silent. Outside. The people of Gorgax watched the sky. Some stayed in their homes, others stared at the dark ship. Children asked questions. Their parents could not answer. Is it angry? Will it attack us? Are humans inside? No one knew. The machines on the ground had stopped working. They stood still, like statues. The towers they built were glowing with power, protecting the cities from the sun's fire. Gorgax had been saved, but at what price? General Carr was angry. He stood in his private base, pacing back and forth. His officers were quiet around him. This is not aid, he growled. This is control. Earth wants us to kneel. They brought this monster to make us obey. One officer spoke carefully. But General, the people are alive because of that ship. It stopped the sun's heat. It gave us power. Carr slammed his fist on the table. They are watching us like animals in a cage, he shouted. We must strike again. We must show we are not afraid. But some officers stepped back. They had seen the weapons. They had heard the voice. Carr's anger grew. If no one stands with me, I will fight alone. Back in the city, Threx had another idea. He wanted to speak to the ship again. He returned to the field where he first entered. This time, he brought a small speaker device. He stood under the ship and spoke clearly. I'm Threx of Gorgax, he said. We know what this ship is. We know it carries power and memory. We know Earth sent it not just to save us, but to test us. The ship made no sound, but the ramp opened again. Threx stepped inside. This time, the lights were already on. The ship guided him to a room he had not seen before. Inside, a single chair and a round screen stood ready. He sat down. The screen turned on. A new message appeared. You are being watched by Earth Command AI 009. Then, a calm voice spoke. Threx of Gorgax, you understand more than your leaders. This ship is here to help, but it also holds the power to end your world if your people return to violence. Threx asked. Why didn't you just destroy us long ago? The voice replied. Because humans believe in second chances, not third. Then, the screen showed something shocking, a list of other planets Earth had visited. Some were saved, some were not, and next to each one was a simple word, peace or erased. Threx felt cold. The voice spoke again. The machine builders will return to work if peace is confirmed. The weapons will return inside if trust is earned. But if Gorgax strikes again, the ship will change. Threx nodded slowly. I will make them understand. He returned to the council and told them everything. The ship has a mind, he said. It is watching us every second. Earth gave us this ship not just to save us, but to teach us. If we fail, we vanish. The leaders finally understood. We must speak to the people, one said. Let them know this ship is not just a gift. It is a message. On that day, across Gorgax, speakers played a new voice, Threx's voice. He told the truth to all about the ship, the videos, the warning. He ended with clear words. The voice of Threx echoed across the cities of Gorgax. His words filled every home, every street, every corner. Earth gave us hope, he said, and now it waits to see what we will do. For some, the message was like a fresh wind. It made them think of peace and new chances. But for others, it was like a warning shot. Among those who felt anger was General Carr Velron. He stood in the council chambers, his face hard and cold. "This ship," he said, "is a threat to our freedom. It is a chain, not a gift. We are being watched, controlled, and judged." Carr's voice was strong, and many warlords stood beside him. "We will never kneel to earth." He shouted, "We will fight if we must. No machine will tell us how to live." The council grew divided. Some agreed with Carr. Others wanted peace. The city streets were no longer calm. Tensions rose. Small fights broke out between those who supported the ship and those who feared it. Some soldiers took to the streets, warning the people to obey the new rules. Others whispered of rebellion. The air was thick with fear and anger. Meanwhile, the human ship remained silent above the city. Its weapons were still open, its dark panels gleaming. But the machines on the ground began to move again. They started repairing old defense towers and building new energy fields. The people watched nervously. Had the ship changed from helper to conqueror? Threx knew the danger. He tried to talk to the council again. "We cannot fight what we do not understand," he said. "We must find a way to show the ship and Earth that we want peace." But the council was split. Carr's group shouted, "Peace is weakness." Others whispered, "We have no choice." One night, Carr gathered his soldiers in secret. He planned to strike against the ship. "If we destroy it, Earth will have no power over us," he said. His soldiers nodded. They were ready to fight, but Threx heard of the plan. He rushed to the council. "We must stop Carr," he said. "If he attacks, the ship will respond. We may lose everything." The next day, the city held its breath. Carr and his soldiers approached the ship with weapons. The sky darkened as they raised their plasma cannons. Suddenly, the ship's voice boomed across the city. "Final warning. Stand down or face extinction." Panels on the ship moved. Weapons slid forward, glowing with energy. The city's people froze. Carr shouted, "We will not bow." He fired the plasma cannon, but the ship did not move. Instead, its weapons aimed at the ground between the soldiers. A powerful energy field rose, stopping Carr's attack. The soldiers were thrown back by an invisible force. Threx ran forward, shouting, "Stop! This is a test." The ship's voice spoke again. "Gorgax, you have one last chance." The people looked at one another. Could they stop the warlord and save their world? In the council chambers, leaders gathered. Carr was brought before them. He refused to speak. Threx stood tall. "We must prove we want peace," he said. "Not just with words but with actions." The council agreed. Outside, the people watched as the ship's weapons slowly retreated. The black panels closed. The machines stopped building and rested. The sky became quiet again. Gorgax had survived the test, but the memory of the day stayed. In every heart, the ship was not just a machine. It was a judge, a guardian, a reminder that peace must be earned. The city was quiet now. The black ship still floated above Gorgax, calm but watchful. The giant machines were no longer working. They rested like silent giants. The people felt the weight of what had happened. Gorgax had passed the test, but the ship's warning still hung in the air. If the Deathworlders chose war again, the ship would not hesitate. In the council chamber, the leaders met once more. The air was heavy with hope and fear. Threx stood among them. His eyes were tired but strong. "We have one last chance," he said. "We must show the humans we are worthy of their help, that we can live in peace." One leader nodded slowly. "But how? How do we prove this?" Threx thought carefully. "By uniting. By showing we trust each other. By stopping violence. By working together to protect our planet." Outside, General Carr sat alone in his chambers. He was defeated, but his spirit was not broken. He stared at the black sky where the ship hovered. "If I give up now," he thought, "I lose everything. But if I fight, I lose everything too." The battle inside him was as fierce as any war he had fought. The next morning, Threx walked among the people. He spoke to families, workers, and soldiers. "We have been given a great gift," he said. "Not just machines or towers, a gift of hope, the chance to change." Many listened. Some still doubted, But slowly, a new feeling grew, a feeling of peace. Meanwhile, the black ship sent a new message. Gorgax, your time is running out. Prove your peace or face the consequence. The words were clear and cold. The planet had only days left. The council called for a great gathering. All leaders, warlords, and citizens came together in the capital. Threx stood before the crowd. We have one choice, he said, peace or destruction. The people looked at each other. Many remember the fires of old wars. The pain, the loss. General Carr rose slowly. I will make one. Promise, he said. No more war. No more fights between us. For the future of Gorgax, I will stand with peace. A murmur spread through the crowd. Some cheered. Some were silent. But hope was there. Days passed. The ship remained above, but did not open its weapons. The machines slowly began to work again, but this time, they built farms, homes, and hospitals. The power towers shone brighter, bringing cool light to the world. Gorgax was healing. One evening, Threx returned to the ship's landing field. He spoke again. Humans, he said softly, we have chosen peace. We will not return to war. Thank you for your gift. The ship's ramp opened one last time. From it, a small device floated down, a message from Earth. Threx picked it up and played it. A human voice spoke clearly. Gorgax, your choice honors us. We stand ready to help. Together, we will build a better future. Then, silently, the ship rose higher and higher. Its black metal shimmered in the stars, and then it vanished. Gorgax looked up at the sky. The Deathworlders had faced their greatest challenge and survived. They had been saved not just by machines or power, but by the chance to be better. A chance given by humans, a chance to change. And from that day on, the people of Gorgax told their children, the humans did not just send aid. They sent a warning. They sent hope. They sent a new way.